A cruise ship left Argentina in April. A few weeks later, 3 people were dead. Passengers had already scattered across 12 countries before anyone even knew what was happening. And people started thinking, is this COVID all over again? I'm a virologist and I'm here to answer that question for you. Not just give you a reassurance, but explain it with actual science. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And welcome to Virology Files. Welcome to Virology Files, a series where we go deeper than the headlines. Every major virus, every outbreak, and every panic. We break it down with actual science. No sensationalism, no oversimplification, just the real biology explained properly. I have master's degree in microbiology and immunology, and I did my master's thesis on human immunodeficiency virus. And before I filmed this video, I went through the WHO outbreak notice and also the CDC situation summary myself, and all the information that I have included in the video or I'll provide it in the description whenever you want to go and check. And for every virus we cover on this channel, we go in 3 parts. In part 1, we'll cover what the outbreak is about, who is affected, and should you worry. In part 2, we cover the science, what the viruses are capable of, what do they do inside the body. And in part 3, we are looking at the bigger picture. For example, what do we learn from the situation? What it tells us about how prepared we really are. This is part 1. Let's get into it. So let's talk about what actually happened. MV Hondius is a Dutch cruise ship. It left Ushuaia, the southernmost city in Argentina, on April 1st. 147 people were on board from 23 nationalities. It is a polar expedition cruise visiting Antarctica and remote South Atlantic islands. On April 6th, a Dutch passenger started showing symptoms. He had fever, headache, and stomach pain. And 5 days later, he was dead. He died from respiratory failure, and no tests were being done at that time because they didn't know what they were looking at. Then his wife falls ill and she disembarks at St. Helena. Later, she was airlifted to Johannesburg, but she deteriorated mid-flight and dies on arrival. Later tested positive for hantavirus. Next, a British passenger gets medically evacuated. His PCR comes back positive on May 2nd, and that's when the WHO was notified. The notification was sent 21 days after the first death. By then, 30 passengers had already disembarked at St. Helena and scattered across 12 different countries. The WHO Director General confirmed this himself. The third passenger also died on board. As of May 15th, the latest ECDC update, total remains 11 cases, 8 confirmed, 2 probable, 1 inconclusive, and 3 deaths. One US passenger got 1 positive result from one lab and 1 negative result from another. They are being retested. So what happened to the ship and the passengers? After stopping in Cape Verde, the MV Hondius was approved to dock in Tenerife in Spain's Canary Islands. It arrived on March 10th. Passengers disembarked and were repatriated on evacuation flights to 6 European countries and Canada. 16 American passengers were flown to the University of Nebraska Medical Center. One who tested positive is in the biocontainment unit. 15 others are in quarantine unit being monitored. 2 more Americans were taken to Atlanta for further assessment. Patients are currently hospitalized in South Africa, the Netherlands, Germany, St. Helena, Spain, France, and Switzerland. And here's something that shows how seriously even healthcare systems are taking this. 12 hospital workers at the University of Medical Center in Netherlands were placed in precautionary quarantine after following the wrong protocol while treating a hantavirus patient. Standard procedure was used instead of stricter protocol required for the virus. They are in quarantine for 6 weeks as a precaution. The hospital acknowledged the error as well. The WHO Director General himself flew to Tenerife on May 12th, and he said there is no sign of a larger outbreak. The story is not over, but it's contained. So what is hantavirus? The name comes from Hantan River in South Korea. That's when the virus was first identified in the 1950s. Hantaviruses are zoonotic. They live in rodents without making them sick. The virus transmits to humans through inhaling aerosols contaminated with rodent urine and feces. Once inside human, hantaviruses cause 2 main syndromes. In the Americas, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. In Europe and Asia, it causes hemorrhagic fever with renal failure. Both of these syndromes can be fatal. The specific strain on MV Hondius is called the Andes virus, found primarily in South America, particularly in Argentina and Chile. What makes Andes virus unique is that it is the only hantavirus that can transmit disease from human to human. It spreads through only close and sustained contact. In part 2 next week, I'm going to go deep into what Andes virus does inside your body. That's where it gets really fascinating. And for now, This is the overview. But why did this start in Argentina? Think of it this way. Every region has its own rodent population, and every rodent population carries a specific type of viral passenger. Southern Argentina has long-tailed pygmy rice rat carrying the Andes virus. The virus doesn't make the rat sick, but when a human comes into contact with the virus through infected rodent urine or feces or saliva, the virus jumps. Argentina has seen doubling of hantavirus cases in 2026 as compared to 2025, and the Dutch couple is thought to have been exposed to the virus while they were bird watching near an Argentine landfill site. The virus was already incubating when he stepped on board. One important update: early reports pointed to Ushuaia as the exposure site, but no recorded cases of Andes virus have ever occurred there. Ushuaia lies 1,500 kilometers south of the endemic range of the rodent that carries this virus. The exact exposure site is still unknown. Argentine authorities are actively testing rodents along the index case's full travel route to find the answer. This is not the first time Andes virus has made headlines. In the 2018, there was an outbreak in a small town called Epuyen in Patagonia. Same strain, same region. 34 people were infected, 11 died, but it was contained. It never spread beyond close contacts. That outbreak is our significant blueprint for understanding this one. In part 3, I'm going to go exactly what we learned from Epuyen outbreak and why some of these lessons weren't implemented. People are now comparing this to COVID, not because the viruses are biologically similar, but because of the situation they cause. A new outbreak, multiple countries, passengers scattered before containment. It's familiar? That fear is understandable. Here is why it's not COVID. Number 1. Transmission. COVID spreads through fine aerosols hanging in the air. You can catch it from someone across the room who is completely fine. That's not the case with Andes virus. Andes virus needs close, sustained, and direct contact from someone who is already symptomatic. It needs household level proximity, not buses or restaurants. Number 2. Novelty. COVID arrived in 2020. No immune system has ever encountered this virus. Andes virus has been known since the 1950s. Number 3. Mutations. COVID kept reshaping itself. Alpha, Delta, Omicron. It's not the case for Andes virus. In the 2018-19 outbreak in Epuyen, Andes virus sequences were nearly identical. As we know, a stable virus is a predictable virus. WHO says the global risk is low. CDC agrees as well. So practically, what does this mean for you? If you were on MV Hondius or you had any relatives who were on the ship, then monitor yourself. CDC says the incubation period for this virus is between 4 and 42 days. Early symptoms are fever, fatigue, muscle aches, stomach aches, and if you have breathing trouble on top of this, it is advisable that you go consult a doctor. There is, however, no antiviral treatment for hantavirus as of now, but care is supportive. Early medical attention is critical. For everyone else, there is no community spread anywhere. The risk to general public is genuinely low. And that's part 1 of Virology Files, and we were looking at hantaviruses. You now know what happened on the ship, what the virus is, where it comes from, how the world responded, and why this is not COVID. We've only scratched the surface. Next week in part 2, I'm going to show you what happens on a cellular level, which cells it targets. This is not something you can find in any news article. And in part 3, we asked the harder question. 3 people died, but WHO was only notified 21 days after the first death, and a hospital in Netherlands followed a wrong protocol. Is all of this just bad luck, or is it a sign of something much bigger? That episode is going to make you think differently about how the world handles outbreaks. Links to all my sources are in the description. Go ahead and check it out. If this helped you understand what's happening, share it. That's Virology Files, and I'll see you next week. Bye.